All right, well, our next guest has been an Asian American advocate for more than 3 decades. Curtis Chin co-founded the Asian Americans Writers Workshop, and he's produced a number of documentaries. Now he is giving readers a candid look at his growing up as a gay Chinese American in the 70s and 80s in Detroit. His memoir is titled Everything I Learned in a Chinese Restaurant. Curtis Chin joins me now here on set. First, Curtis, it is a pleasure to have you, and might I say, I really enjoyed your memoir. It was fascinating. First, talk to us a little bit about what was the story you were setting out to tell, and all the experiences that you had growing up as a young boy in your family's Chinese restaurant in Detroit.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me onto your show. I'm very excited to be here. The book, it's all about Chinese food in Detroit and growing up in the 80s, all the things that I love to talk about. And so I just wanted to write the stories of my family because, even though we had this long history of living in Michigan, after my dad passed away sadly and we had to close the restaurant, we all left. And then when my siblings started having kids, I wanted to sort of capture those stories for them to tell them, hey, this is your family's history.
And that history is so important. I think especially as Asian Americans, that isn't always written. And the fact that you grew up as you were questioning your own sexuality in a culture that sometimes isn't super receptive to acceptance of, having a gay son. What was that like coming out to your family and to your friends? And what did you learn from that struggle that is so relatable for so many people?
Well, I think I struggled with a lot of things growing up in Michigan because, you're Asian, it's a black and white world, I'm gay, my family's working class, living in a middle class, upper middle class neighborhood. So there are all these different challenges. So I think that the gay thing was just sort of thrown into the mix of all that. It's like I say in the book, it's sort of like a whack-a-mole thing that I had to deal with, like trying to avoid all these different situations.
I think you leaned, as you wrote, on your friends and finding your tribe, which I think many people can understand. I want to talk about the rise in anti-Asian hate, and some of this you witnessed, in your own growing up in Michigan there, but we've seen crimes against Asian Americans, Jewish Americans, Muslim Americans, Black Americans. What is your message? What did you learn about struggling with that kind of racism, and how did you overcome it?
Well, first of all, I think I've been concerned with just the way our country is these days. We're in these little silos where we don't talk to each other. There's a lot of misconceptions about each other. But Chinese restaurants are actually one of the few places where you can actually go in and see somebody from a different race, a religion, socioeconomic background. And if we just took that opportunity, right, to just sort of maybe lean across at the table next to us and ask, hey, what are you eating? It's these small little moments where we can try to be civil towards each other. That's sort of what I was thinking for the book. And as I said to my agents, we'll pitch it as, come for the egg rolls, but stay for the talk on racism. Because
I love it.
It's a very serious topic, but I think we can try to talk about these things in a way that actually brings us together as opposed to drives us apart.
And food brings us together, and you're right, everybody loves Chinese food. Quickly before we let you go, what are you hoping that readers take from your book?
God, so many different things. I want them to have a good time reading it. I want them to appreciate Chinese food. I want them to understand the Asian American experience. Maybe just bring a little bit more levity in these difficult times.
Yeah, you do address some difficult topics, but with a lot of laughs and humor and love. Thank you so much, Curtis Chin, author of Everything I Learned in a Chinese Restaurant. Stay with us, everyone. Much more News Daily coming up. And up next, Feeling Fantastic. We're going to break down the new cast for the movie reboot of the comic book classic Fantastic Four. Don't go anywhere. Daily continues right after this.